Hey everybody, how you doing? Matty, your realtor in Las Vegas. Hey, today we're going over the duties owed form, one of the most important forms that you're going to be asked to sign with your real estate agent. Before we get into that, please subscribe to my channel down below. That way, any videos I do on Las Vegas real estate, anything else I do videos on, will come right to your inbox. And hopefully during the video, you'll like the video. Throw me a like as well. That way, YouTube knows that it's good information and we'll share it to more people. So let's go ahead and get into the duties owed form. All right, duties owed by a Nevada real estate licensee, IMA licensee. Now, this form is going to be used between myself and my clients, whether they're buyers or sellers. Okay, this form will also be used if I'm in a transaction with my client that on the other side of the transaction is an unrepresented party, whether a buyer or a seller. So that way they know that they're dealing with a licensed professional. Okay, this is a very important form and it creates the agency relationship and provides my clients the fiduciary responsibilities. And fiduciary responsibilities basically mean that I put your interests before my own. Okay? So let's go ahead and get into it. Licensee, Matthew Darren Evans, my license number. It'll have your name here, whether you're a buyer or seller. Brian Nisley is my broker at Better Life Realty. I, at this time, do not have any other agents working with me. I do work as a solo agent, but I do have a transaction staff that does help me with all my transactions. Okay, so the first part is the licensee's duties to all parties in the transaction. Okay, I'm not to deal with any party in this transaction or any transaction where I'm to be deceitful, fraudulent, or dishonest. Okay, just the bottom line. I'm a licensed professional and I have to hold myself to a higher level. I'm going to exercise reasonable skill with respect to all parties as well. I am going to disclose to all the parties any material facts of the property or anything that I know. And I also will exercise reasonable care and due diligence. All right. Also, one thing very important as well, each source of compensation I will have to disclose to all parties as well. So what I'm getting paid, you will know. Also, abide by my other duties, responsibilities, and other obligations required of the licensee in law or regulations. Okay? Now, here are my fiduciary responsibilities to you. As my duties owed to my client, I'm going to exercise reasonable skill and care and carry out to the terms of the brokerage agreement and the licensee's duties in the brokerage agreement. I'm going to not disclose, except to my broker, any confidential information. And I have like a 1 year to a client for 1 year, blah, blah, blah. I'm going to forget it before then anyway, so I don't think that's anything you got to worry about. I have to seek a sale, a purchase, an option, a rental, or lease of a property at the price and terms laid out in the brokerage agreements. Again, that brokerage agreement is something for a buyer, and that's one of the next forms that I'm going to be asking you to sign. That gives us exclusivity as me as your agent and you as my client. Also, to disclose to the client material facts that the licensee has any knowledge concerning the real estate transaction. Again, once I know something, I can't unknow it. Now, you as my client, I have disclosure with you and confidentiality. So if you do tell me something, that's where that year comes in, that I will not disclose that to other people because you are my client. Let's see, advise the client to obtain advice from an expert relating to matters which are beyond the expertise of the licensee. I'm a real estate agent. I am not an inspector. I'm not a tax professional, and I'm not a loan officer. So those are the three things that really come into play when we're in a real estate transaction. I will seek advice, and I will point us all in the right direction and do whatever I can to find the right information. Okay? Let's see. And then the last thing, we're going to account to the client for all the money and property the licensee receives in which the client may have an interest. Okay? So again, basically this whole form is for me to be upfront, be truthful and honest, work non-fraudulently and in an honest respect to all parties, but you as my client have some duties that go beyond that. Okay? Again, disclosure, loyalty, confidentiality, and all those. So now this says licensee acting for both parties. Well, Matthew, you're telling me all these special duties you owe only your client, but how does that work if you work for two parties? It's definitely a conflict of interest, and it's something that doesn't happen very often, but it does happen. In the right situation, it can be fantastic for all parties. In the wrong situation, it can be a friggin' disaster. been party to both, unfortunately. It's not something that I like to do, but it is something that does happen. So when we go through this, I'm going to ask you to select may, unless you're absolutely against it, and then select may not, where I won't be able to work on both sides. Once we get to that point, there will be another form called a consent to act that I will ask you to sign again to go over the conflict of interest and how I will run along the terms of the contract. Okay. Once we're done with that, basically form's done. Sign as the seller, buyer, landlord, or tenant. Sign a date, date and time it, and we are done. We are now in a relationship as a client to real estate professional, and I look forward to working with you, working really hard for you. So with that, I'm going to leave you. Have a fantastic day. Please leave a comment below if you have any questions, and always reach out to me. Call, text, or email anytime. Have a great one. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.